All right, we're back. We got the 346 head here. For those people that are seeing this later, it's a whole lot more fun to join live. So if possible, please join live. I'll bring you up here, and that way I can see comments and whatnot. A whole lot more fun to do this live. That way, if there's comments or questions or anything like that, then just a whole lot more fun. I can answer things. Just need to find my own video here. Why can't I bring myself up? Interesting. I can't even bring my own video up. There we go, finally. Hey Greg. Yeah, I'm just going to do some porting on this 346 head. Nothing really terribly exciting. Just want to kind of continue what we're going here. So it's nice to make this nice and smooth all the way down in if you can. That's pretty good. So that side looks pretty good. Let's go to this side and start whaling away. So what's nice is on a used cylinder, you can actually see where the gasket was, and it just basically shows you pretty much right where to grind to. Makes things a whole lot easier in that respect. Actually, I wasn't wanting to change burrs here. I just wanted to tighten this a little bit so this doesn't move. Hope everybody's having a good Thanksgiving. Probably everybody's having a good old time right now. Really, I should be looking for another cup of coffee with my whipped cream, but we'll do that in a minute. Hey, Marshall. Welcome back. Not too terribly much more there. Now we're going to take the front, the intake side here, and bring it back this way so you get a little bit more area here to take a bigger gulp. Because this one right now has plenty of area. My opinion. Now you can match and all that stuff too. I just try to get it as even on both sides as I can. Hard to do. Okay. Pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. now, the uppers don't need to be touched much. I'm going to just kiss them gentle right down to where the bevels are, and that's it. And that's, of course, if my one last right angle holds out. There he is. Feel you realize you checked it? Yeah, of course. Yeah. Nice job, dude. Like I said, I'm just kind of kissing it, and I can see the nice thing about the OEM heads is that the bevels are really consistent. So basically, I'm just taking down to where the bevel was, and that's it. That's all I'm really doing here. And then I'll add a new bevel with my ball diamond. Yeah, that's good. Uh-oh. Almost. Oh, I think that's boogered. Don't think I have another one around. It'd be nice if I do. Ooh, wait a minute. Do have one that works. Okay, here we go. I'll go back to the other part here if I can find it. Because I don't need, that one's a little more heavy. This one's a little, hey Steve. Just don't need that much done here. So I'm just going to the edge of the existing bevel, and then I'll re-bevel it. That's all I'm doing. You could probably even argue, why do anything, you know? That's nice and clean looking. Cool, okay. Put that away for the moment. Now I just need to find my ball diamond here. These things have a habit of running away. Hey, Roadrunner. Shootout today between the cops and a father who kidnaps his kid. Oh, God. 10 people watching. Who else is here? Cabbage rolls for supper, huh? So on the exhaust too. That's pretty. Okay. Let me give this a quick rinse. I still need to We need to work on the intake, and I need to shine it up. Other than that, I think this is pretty good. Give it a quick rinse. Okay. All we're going to do is the intake, and then do a final shine on it. I think that's it. Well, the intake doesn't need much at all. Just gently needs kissing. That's just a little bit, you know. Over there on the thing. I gotta push the ring down and just give myself a line, but I need to do that evenly, and the best way to do this with the piston, so I gotta pull the piston. Marky Mark. Tom W. Welcome. Glad you find things helpful. So I'm just pushing this down evenly, and I just want to take a touch away from the intake, so I just need kind of a reference line. It's really all that I need, just a reference. So I got the ring in there, just take a nice Sharpie, sharp Sharpie. Nice reference line, that's all you need. I just want to take a touch away from the intake, it wasn't much. And square up the intake. Yeah. Yeah, all I'm going to do, I'm going to widen it, going to square it just a little bit, and there's my reference line, and I probably don't want to cut quite to that. So how I set where I want that line, again, it's just a reference line. I know that I need like a 1/16 of an inch off the intake. And you can be more exact with this if you want. I'm not saying, you know, this is exactly how to do this, but that reference line is literally just a reference. That's all that it is. Yep. Almost. Looking good. So I don't want it to kind of slope down. I want it to be straight down, if I can get it. I like to put a little extra bevel here too. That way you have a nice smooth transition in. Looks good to me. Don't even really need to polish the intake. Just make sure everything's fairly smooth. I'm going to wash this out, and then I'm going to use a Scotch-Brite on it. Night, Marshall. Echoman, got a 91026 still. That's what I'm working on right now. Well, I've got it here anyway. 056 Magnum 2 just got done. She's a ripper. Good. Dumb question. Are most saws ported with both hands, one holding the head, the other holding the grinder? Some put in a jig. Might be in a jig. I think I've seen Mastermind go in things holding a jug and kind of freehanding it. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Next, I'm going to take the Scotch-Brite. Hey, Dan. How you doing? Yeah, look out. Give this another wash here. Pretty shiny. She ain't a perfect bore, but a lot of time and effort into that. Shines that up. Shines that up. That should generate some power. Gotta hope, right? One thing I kind of forget to do, would be good to do more often than I do it, is run a tap in on the spark plug threads. Just to, you know, make sure they're clean. We don't have too much debris and whatnot. Other thing I think I'll do is I'm gonna steal this decomp here and put a fresh one in. Did you port match the exhaust? No. Well, no. I don't really open up the exhaust that much. I know a lot of guys do. I don't. I don't know. Seems like an awful lot of grinding to me. I guess it kind of depends on what you're doing. Like, if you're really into this and want to spend hours and hours grinding, I mean, be my guest, but you can certainly, you know, you can grind on these things all day. I don't overly do it with the mufflers. But you can. I mean, yeah, there's, not saying you can't. I just don't open up the opening huge compared to, a lot of guys do, but I don't. It's kind of grody in there. I'm going to make sure the dang hole is patent, you know. Sometimes it's not. It is now. Looks kind of yucky in there. Let's see if I can fix that. all these steps, every step of the way, checking this, doing that, extra time, extra tools, more time, more tools. So how are you going to get in there? Well, one of these little brushes works. You got to have all these tools ready to go. And I'm not making money on this job, so don't look at this as a job we're making money. That's not the idea here. But look at it as, if you're trying to make some money with this, best of luck. That's hard. Yeah, that's better. Make sure your impulse is patent, and I can see that it is. I'd say it's pretty darn ready to go on a saw. Let's do one final wash. I'll be back. Yo boy, jammies. Yes, jammies. Lots of bubbles, yeah. Nice bath. So this is a blue tip decomp, which will handle the compression a little bit better, I think. That's a lot of work. That's hours and hours and hours of work. Hopefully it fits on the saw. Okay. Put that aside for just a moment. Let's get the chassis back up here. Put this away. I do think I'm ready. Again, just for the moment. So here's the chassis. Again, this is not fully together. I'm going to adjust it a bit. This is just kind of a trial put together, essentially. So I've not. I know about the new Highway Titan Kel stuff, but I've not actually seen one. I don't think. Like I said, I've not seen it personally. So some of that stuff just doesn't affect me. Some of it does. I do plenty of aftermarket stuff. I use plenty of aftermarket stuff, but certainly not everything I do is aftermarket. Ordered it for your 372. Okay. So just two bolts here. Just so I can measure the squish again, just to make darn sure everything's good. So this should go smooth up and down, and it does, so it's not interfering anything on the way down. We'll check the squish, double check. About 19 thousandths. That's pretty good. Tight. Yeah, it's a new type of cylinder plating and whatnot that they just came up with. Alright, so let's see if we can get some numbers here. Pretty even. There's good. Yeah, I'll bet we're not balanced anymore, so. That's 40, that's 60, so let's go to. So if you have a degree wheel that's a little bit less crude than this one, then you're in better shape than me. That's about 50. That's about 50. Alright, so where are we at? 51. 50. Alright, close enough. So the exhaust here is going to be at right about there, where it closes 106. Okay, that's fine. Could be a little more aggressive, but I don't need to be. Let's go around to the other side and see how balanced that is. $105. Yeah, so that's perfect. Okay, transfers. be able to see them. Somewhere around there. 110, 20, 124. That's fine. And then intake. All right, I'll show you this to you guys because this is nice. This is a nice crisp opening, just how I like it, and that's right around 79, which is perfect. So when you look in here, there we go. So right there, it all closes. Boom, boom. You can imagine, boom. So every time it takes a chomp, it's crisp. Perfect. It's not open on the sides. We're good. Does it make, well, you can use larger diameter solder, but I only use larger diameter solder for, if I, hang on a second. Yeah, okay. I only use larger diameter solder if I have a larger diameter squish. Make sense? So, okay. Got a couple of other things here going. One is we need to put the intake on here. Two, I need to modify this a little bit. I should be able to take a piece of paper, slide it. I want to make sure that the cylinder is not touching the chassis physically. Okay, should be able to slide a piece of paper between there. Because if it's touching, then it's interfering with the cylinder alignment. No good. I'm also going to make sure that I use cylinder bolts that don't bottom out too quickly. That's another issue. Let's do that. Let's work on that next, actually. Pull this off. Okay. Now, I'm sure they're out there, okay? But do you guys know how many cylinders I've ever seen that are worn out? I know they exist, but all I do are trash saws. And I have not yet seen a cylinder that was just cooked from so much wear and tear. I haven't seen it. Again, I'm sure it's out there, but it's not something that I've actually seen. So just something to consider when you're thinking about cylinders. So I'm going to get some new bolts here. $25 is too long. I'm looking for 20s. Whoa, hello. Look at a spider coming down to me. Yeah, you know, I've certainly, you know, I know that they exist, but again, all I do are trash saws, and yet I've never seen one. I got a spider falling right down on my head. Great. I'll fix him. Don't need that. So, here's how we do this. I'm just going to take... I've made this mistake more times than I'd like to admit. It's one of those crazy things that if you don't check this, you're just in such trouble. So, Loctite in it or whatever else. My point about the worn out cylinders, is that there are so many other things that are the demise of chainsaws that I just don't end up seeing worn out heads as the point of failure. You know, again, I'm not saying it can't happen or it doesn't. I'm just saying that it's just not what I see. Most of the time I see points of failure on chainsaws in a completely different place. And it's not the plating on the head, whether it be aftermarket or not. Alright. Put to this side a moment again. Gotta have all this stuff right there on tap. If you don't on tap, okay, bad. So if you don't got all this stuff ready to go, you're gonna have a problem. This is a through-hole tap, not a bottoming tap. This is the bottoming tap, which I will now use. Matt Fort, what's going on, man? Yeah, the dyno stuff is interesting. It'd be cool to have something that was readily available. Now that those are good, time to clean this up, clean this up, clean the crank up, put new bearings in. Let's see how we do. Efren, what's going on, man? Welcome. Cap, put that away. Don't need that for the moment. Put that away, put that away. All right. Off, because I don't need the wheel on there anymore. 5, 8, 9, 16. Should have done that obviously beforehand, but it doesn't matter. Takes a lot to do one of these. All right. So these are the old bearings. And these are not press-on bearings. I have no idea why Husky did this like this, but it doesn't make much sense. But it is the way that they did it. Take care, Mega. Have a good one, Brett. All right, there's one other thing gotta do. I'm gonna grind away this just a little bit. So this piece, I forgot I machined it. I did. Okay. Good. But here, right in here, I need to take just a little bit out of that, because if you've dropped the head, you might need to remove just a touch. Otherwise, bad things, basically. Yeah, OEMs are expensive. Do you do OEM bearing? Yes, I do OEM bearing. On this saw, I do OEM bearings. I have done the aftermarkets. There are random issues, so I do OEMs. They're like $30 a shot, so $60 for a saw. That should do it. Final brake clean of the base here. Make sure this is all, no dirt, no debris, no oil. So in here is nice and clean. Break out the expensive stuff. Okay, I've got one. That's going to be embarrassing. I had two. I threw two of them down this way. Yeah, two. Okay. So, these are OEM bearings and seals. Yeah, I like my Natchies. They're easy to get on eBay, and you get them packs of 10. That's nice. Already came lubed. Metal cage. Sitting around here. What the devil did I do with it? Every once in a while stuff ends up in the wrong drawer, you know? Yeah, I'm just going to take the edge off this stupid lip. There's no need to have that lip there. There's no reason why it can't be a 45, essentially. My concern is if that stupid spring pops out, I won't know it. Put extra grease in there. See, that wants to prolapse. Yep, and there's the spring. It should just pop right on there, and it didn't. Boy, that's bad. Like, I don't even know what the odds of me getting that spring back in the spot is. Yeah, I don't even know. There it goes. Okay, the spring's back in the right spot. Oh, what a pain this is. I'd love to try the Coke can trick on here, but you can't. There's the spring again. Good idea. Going this way. So this is the seal installer. Oh, I know. Hang on. Hang on. Too much. Need a shoehorn. I know, you gotta work it around. No, they're not science specific. They're not. It's a good question, but no, they're not. See, that's not quite enough, and this side is too much. So somewhere in there, there's something that would be an appropriate diameter that would hold it. I'd need to get the Coke can. I've tried this before. It's very, very difficult. Well, here's another, because I can probably put that on the other side. But let's see. So this is another new one. Gotta put that on. If something's like even a hair off center, it doesn't go. So I think I'm going to work with the file a little bit more and make this even more of a bevel, because there's just no need for it to not be a bevel. The seal's not writing on this spot anyway. If I was closer to a lathe, I'd just stick it on the lathe and put a 45 on it. Although that looks pretty darn good, admittedly. Now, the whole thing puckered immediately. There's the spring. Like I said, I've never had this trouble before. At least not to this extent. Socket that happens to perfectly fit. Let's see if that helps. No, it won't because it's already. You need a super small flat blade screwdriver. If you're gonna, I don't see that working either. There. But now I got to pop it off and make sure that the spring didn't pop out. That's the thing, like, because you don't know. See, and the spring did pop out. To go around and make sure the spring. I don't think it is. There we go. Should go pop, and that's it. Done. You're back. Yeah, spring. This is lousy. This is lousy. There's also grease in here, so I can't see. This sucks. There we go. Okay. Let's see if we can repeat. Oh, spring's already out. Just press it a little bit. The spring is already out of position. I needed a specific tool to get in there, and I don't know if I got it. That's terrible, guys. I'm sorry. Bought 2 brand new $30 bearings for this, and they're both crap. Think of what tool. This pick is the closest thing I got to something that'll work. That's good. Okay. Again. Yeah, I really need. The only way to do this is to do this with the Coke can trick, like this. Let's see. I think. Where did that go? I gotta grab this and pull. Again. Now that's in. Now let's see if this will go. That's it, right there. That's how to do it. As long as there's no spring showing. Now I know how to replicate it. Oh my God. Okay, no spring showing. That's it. That's how to do it. Yes, this seal installer has got to go in here, but I think the only way to properly do it is to use a piece of Coke can on here. And then this helps. It actually, I mean, it takes quite a bit of force for me to pull this, but that's how that goes, and you pull it in. There you have it. That's as close as you're going to get to perfection there. Now I got to look at this one and make sure the spring's not showing. It's not, but we'll put it on here. That's how that should go. Pull it back off. I shouldn't be able to see the spring. Let's just squeeze in here. Yep, that's it. Oh, this one came out great. Done it twice now. Again, very superstitious, but no pop from the spring. So downside here is that I just ripped my Coke can. Okay. Here I have a new Coke can. So again, Coke can with the seal installer. This is a little bit too big. does not have to be in tons, just a bit. And you have to, because you have to be able to pull this out. If it's too far in, it gets stuck. There. Perfect. Again, that then goes right down on here. And that should be the sound that you hear. Perfect. Now don't touch with it. Don't mess with it. Nothing. Good. My eyeballs are cross-eyed now. This is so stupid. So, seal installer. This is for a, I think, let's see, what would this? Anything with a 6202 bearing. So would use this as a Husky seal installer. You can get them. They're OEM parts. They're not that expensive. It's basically the alternative to the Coke can trick, but on this, you kind of need it. And I've done tons of these saws and had not needed that. But obviously tonight I did. Brand new OEM bearings and seals. They come as a package piece. Three bonds 1184. There is like the stuff that they use, the OEM stuff is like Dow Corning something. I forget exactly what it was, but it's some funky stuff, and if I had a choice at this point, I'd use 3 bonds 1184. Okay, that's good. We'll let that tag for a little bit. Hit the base for sure. Again, clean and degreased. Again, same deal here. Going to let this tack. Nice even coat. Thing you got to do is smear a little bit of blue Loctite in here. Okay. Make sure this goes the correct way, obviously. Lay it down and in. I like to smear just a little bit extra at the corners. They always kind of worry me. A lot of work just to do this. Make sure the bearing cap is in the correct orientation. Okay. Now, another thing you could do is the bearing cap bolts. These are the coarse thread ones. The fine thread are probably preferable, but as long as you use Loctite, then I wouldn't worry about it quite so much. One, two, three, four. If I try to move anything now, it's going to kind of smear all over the place. So I'm going to leave that just like that. Actually, you know what? little extra out. With the razor blade, just go in there. Oh, these are slow, yeah. Like I said, I don't know how people make money doing this. You know what I mean? How in the world does anybody actually make a buck doing this? I don't know. Okay. That'll be fine. I'll lube that up. It'll be good. So, we'll leave that for the moment. Put that aside. Need an intake. Clamp. That'll do. Plastic intake clamps. The bane of my existence. So as you're putting this together, one of the things you can start thinking about is like, okay, what parts should I assemble before I put the cylinder head down? What parts can I assemble after? Turns out there's all kinds of things you can do. Here it really is best, if not impossible to do without, to have this on first. And one of the interesting pieces of advice that I've gotten over the years is just put the rubber piece on, make sure the nipple and everything's good, and then put everything else on after that. How in the world can you do that? Well, it turns out you can. So Loctite 518 is what I like to use on the intakes. Turns out rubber sticks, this stuff sticks rubber to metal fairly well. There. See, now you know you've got the nipple in there and it's not off center or something like that. So now what you need is a new partition wall. So this you can now put on. Then put this on, but we got to work on this first. So this part goes under this part. It really needs a bevel on it. It doesn't take much to put that bevel on there. Just whatever makes it slip better. And this ring is helpful, by the way. That little ring actually helps considerably. All I'm trying to do is get the ring in position. There. Just like that. And now I can actually clamp this with my lineman's pliers. So now I know everything here is good. It's all lined up, just needed to hit this with the lineman's pliers. This is one of those things that takes a little bit of practice to do. Once you get it, you're good. Right now I just blew somebody's mind. Those are hard. Those indeed are not easy. My adjustment pliers, whenever I need them, seem to be. Oh, man. I have a smaller set of adjustable pliers that I love for this very job. So one is I squeeze it just a little bit just to make darn sure that it's nabbed, and then I also move, you can move this around so it's out of the way of anything else, you know? Just make sure it's out of the way. Yeah, I know, Norm. I that's what I just blew somebody's mind, like, completely. So yeah, I know how hard these are and what they're paying. To be honest, those silly bearings have given me more trouble tonight than anything. All right, old parts, don't need them. Junk. This is a impulse line. It's old, just junk. So these parts I can put on later. The impulse line I can put on later. But that part, getting that done now is important. Hey, Tim. Sorry, my brain just stopped. Okay. A little extra 1184 out of there. Put just a teeny tiny bit of lube here on the big end bearing. Just a little something on the bearings so they're not completely dry. They're not, but whatever. Piston. We have a pin bearing. So OEM pin bearing. Again, just a little something on that. That's baby stuff, Norm. You can do it. Flange, piece of cake. Piece of cake. You got it. Fresh new cable ring. Now I happen to have we've got a gasket here. I'm not going to put any goop on this. I'm just going to run this gasket, because if I got to go back in or whatever, then it'll be easier later. Happen to have literally sitting around OEM clips. I'm never going to use otherwise, so. Norm, are you talking about like just the flange that's here or the flange here? If it's the flange, if it's the partition wall, if it's the partition wall that you need to change, then you got to take the piston off. But you got to take the cylinder off. If it's just this flange, the one that goes on here, then you don't need to remove anything except that. So, clips, I'll do this side first. This is usually a little harder. Okay, piece of cake there. Okay, next thing is this clip here. Pin wasn't already. Yep, rotates freely. Put it at the bottom. That's that. Okay, got my Loctite in there. Get rid of all this stuff and find my head bolts. 1, 2, 3. There should be at least 4. Usually if you can get 2 in, you're pretty good to go. because then that aligns the gasket pretty well. It's the plastic ones that the carb screws tighten into. Yeah, that's just the regular. That's just the flange, Norm. That's no problem. Look for a missing head bolt. Disappear. Sometimes a little grease helps. You can look and make sure these go down, and before they get tight, that they actually touch the head. Yep. And Norm, I'll show you. I mean, right here is where the flange goes. So I'll show you that right now, actually, just to make your life easier. One, two, three, four. Okay. So the flange just goes on like that. I mean, really not a big deal. You just pull the rubber through, and there's a number. I mean, you can just finagle it through. That's not that much of a problem. But there's other ways to do it too. Impulse line. So it's nice to have a fresh new impulse line. And I've tried to do these impulse hoses here. I've tried to do those with other line. I don't recommend it. You have to get the OEM line because it's bent in a very, very, very specific way. See? I'm going to put the line on here. And now, again, you can just kind of heave-ho this through the rubber. See? Now you hook up the other end. And you have a brand new rubber impulse line there. Mega, as long as it's a black coil, you'll have it. Get a 346 XP black coil. It's unlimited then. Norm, does that help there? Yeah, I would definitely get a new impulse line. That they're not cheap, but it's not awful either. So I'm tired, guys. I think it's time to go to bed. Does a lot of work. So, questions, comments, otherwise, anything else? Well, now I'm almost got embarrassed at the darn bearings. It's just kind of annoying. Brand new OEM wants to pop right out. I'm glad that I figured out. I mean, this really was Coke can and the sleeve installer. You really need both. Otherwise, I was not gonna have any hope otherwise today. I think it would have been okay. Maybe I'll get another seal installer and take the lip back, because I did not need the lip, and the lip was kind of preventing me from just using this. Because I can't get this in there with that lip on there. It's too sharp, it grabs. So I need something that's already in there to kind of splay it open while I just pop that in there, you know? Yeah, I don't know if I can get that in. I don't think so. And it won't go in this way, of course, because the bearing. And this way, unfortunately, doesn't help. I don't think it does. that's a 346 crank. Whatever. All right, my eyes are closing. I'm gonna call it. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. Appreciate it so much. We'll be back and we'll do this again as soon as possible. So, a lot of the modifications are done here. Now it's just a matter of putting this together, which is cool. So, I'm out. You have a great night. And if there's any questions, just give me a holler, okay? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Be safe, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.